You have questions, we have answers. This is Jane Muller.
And this is Ken Muller. Welcome to our show, all about real estate with Ken and Jane. Today, Jane, we're going to talk about a very important topic in real estate that's called property management. Real estate is an asset, and one of the things people want to do with assets, you want to make sure that they appreciate over time. And property management is all about managing your asset and making real estate truly a passive investment. And here to break it all down, we have two very special guests. We have Carl Sanfilippo and Ed Griffin with CMS Property Management. Guys, thank you so much for coming on the show, and a big welcome to you both.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I think this is my second time. Am I the first repeat guest of the show?
Yes,
Carl,
yes, you are.
Carl, because,
Yes,
and
you
you're the first guest, and you're the first repeat guest. So,
Well, listen back. I gotta tell you, I listen to the show every week, so it's an honor for me to come back and be on. Thank you.
Thank you.
that is great.
But we came a long way. Remember the first time I was so frozen, but at least now I can talk.
The first,
I can behave like a human being
I think
now.
the first show, Carl did 95% of the talking. I did maybe 3%, and Jane did the remaining 2%.
I think I did a 1% less, which is unusual.
So guys, let's talk about, first of all, for the listeners out there, they may not even know what property management is and what it applies to. So can you guys talk about that, what it covers, and if it applies to residential and commercial, or what types of properties it entails?
Sure. I mean, property management is just kind of what it sounds like. So what we do is we help real estate investors manage their property portfolio. I'm passionate about real estate. I'm passionate of owning a brokerage and some other companies in the real estate industry, but I'm most passionate about people invested in real estate. I think you see right now what's happening is the stock market's been going down, crypto's been going down. I talked about when all the cannabis stocks was the big rage in the 2000s. There was the tech stocks. Everybody was buying tech stocks and it crashed. But one thing that's tried and true is that real estate over time is a good investment. And I share the story when I was a little kid. I remember I was sitting in my grandfather's house in Brooklyn. My grandfather drove a subway MTA driver. My grandmother was a seamstress. And my grandfather said to me, he goes, Carl, looking back, and now that I know the value of my house, he goes, what was my biggest regret in life? I said, what was that, Grandpa? He goes, not buying two. He's like, if I bought two of these houses, I'd be in a really good position. And when you're a kid, I call them sliding door moments. There's those little events that really resonate with you and help you shape your life. That was one of them. And it's funny, the first townhouse I bought, I ended up buying the one 2 doors down, and I still own both of them. And I bought the second one at foreclosure. And I said, I'm going to listen to my grandfather's advice. So I bought two of them. And what I see too is I talk to a lot of realtors and I talk to a lot of people in general about real estate investing, and the part that they're most concerned about is the management, is the phone calls, is the collecting of the rents, it's the screening of the tenants, it's the managing the property, the late night phone calls, to me screening the tenants is one of the most important things you could do. So our company I decided to create this company with Ed to take all those hassles away from the investor or the realtor, so somebody who was on the fence about investing in real estate would feel more comfortable doing it, knowing that the property was professionally managed. That would help them build wealth long term, because I think that's one of the greatest things about real estate is the opportunity to build wealth. And people talk about passive income. It's such a big word that you hear these days. When you're managing a lot of properties, there's really nothing passive about it. It's a lot of work. So if you have a professional property management companies, we're able to take a lot of that work off your plate to truly make it a passive investment. You can go live anywhere in the world and we'll ACH you your checks from after we collect the rents, and we're taking care of all the repairs and everything like that, so you can go do what you're best at. My goal is with a property management company is we want to reduce the amount of vacancies and expenses you have, so you can get the biggest return on your investment. And I only say is working with our company is only expensive if we don't do a good job, because if we're doing a good job, we're going to make your asset worth more, and we're going to make your quality of life better.
I totally agree, because, I often tell our investor clients, right, having investment property is like a part-time job, right? And you have to treat your tenant as a client as well. You rent the house and you want them to take care of your place, you have to do your part. But having a management company is definitely going to save the client's time and effort because everybody's busy. Let's face it, right? That's why a lot of people like to buy stock. Why? Because automatically they owe a 401k, the company buy it, match it, whatever, and you buy and forgot. So you don't have to do anything. But the real estate, they feel it's too much work. In fact, it isn't because there's a professional. Just like when you have a stock, an investment, you have your broker, right? You have a financial advisor to help you to catch the market, do whatever. And then the real estate is equally, if not more important, to have an investment. You had the professional take care of investment and managing your properties. And these people, I always say, when you engage professional company, it's not a cost you. You have to look the benefit. They improve your asset. If there's issue, they take care of it. They avoid a lot of problems. And most importantly, it is add value to your long-term as well as everyday life. If tenant take care of, everybody's happy. The bill is paid, right?
No, I agree. And Jane, Ken, I always say, have you ever spoken to somebody who owned real estate for 30 years and say, wow, I wish I didn't buy that real estate? Typically, when you talk to someone who's owned real estate for a long time, they're very happy with their purchase.
Yes.
So I'm just a big proponent that real estate investing is just a key to building wealth.
Yep.
That you can't go wrong long-term buying real estate. The people I see who get in trouble buying real estate buy it for a short-term investment and speculation, not as a sound investment. But when you make it as a sound investment, you hold it long-term, you're always going to win, no matter what the market, no matter what the economy is and everything of that situation. So I think that's why I'm so passionate about a property management company, because I want to be able to help as many people do that as possible.
Right. And one of the things about real estate, which I think you touched on in one of your prior talks, Carl, was that real estate, it appreciates, ideally it's going to appreciate in value as time goes on, but it appreciates. But the beauty of it is from a tax benefit, it actually depreciates because there's something in both residential and commercial that I know from learning my CCIM courses. Residential real estate, I think, is on a 27-year or 27-and-a-half-year depreciation cycle, and commercial's on a 39-year. So every year, your accountant can depreciate a certain amount of that real estate, and if you add, and likewise, the repairs are tax deductible. The capital expenditures you make for new appliances are. So that's the beauty of real estate is you're making money, but from an accounting perspective, you can be depreciating it, and you're not getting assessed fully on all that.
Right. There's only a few opportunities, and I know that you agree with me that you'll be able to buy something that can appreciate, and the government says it's depreciating. Again, I'm not an accountant, but this is
right. That's what
I've learned. And even what's great about it too is if you buy a house and you live in it for a few years as a residential property and it appreciates greatly, and you sell it. Depending on your situation, but most likely that's going to be tax-free income, and you can't on your primary residence,
right? Yes.
And that's not something you can get on the stock market. If you buy stocks and sell for a couple hundred, again, I'm not an accountant, but this is just what I've known from being involved in real estate and business, is that it's one of the biggest tax-free vehicles that are out there, even just for a primary residence and someone who's thinking about buying a house.
Yes. I just recently had that. One of my clients bought a house only a few years ago. And now because the market is so high, so we're able to get a premium dollar for her. So she net is to her pocket about over $200,000 net in the pocket. Yeah, because after all the cost. So, only in a few years, only in pretty much, they bought it in a good time. Just 3.5 years ago. So that was very short, $200,000 in the pocket without tax implication. That means a lot. Yeah, that's really make a lot of people sit on the fence and to consider there's an option. Once again, diversify your investment is the key. And you have a lot of stocks. Now we have a good management company. Maybe you should take the time to consider about investment in real estate. Yeah.
So, Carl, if somebody wants to reach you or Ed, what's the best way they can get in touch with you? By your phone number, your website?
They can visit us at cmspm.com. So it's Charlie, Mary, Sam, Peter, Mary. cmspm.com. That's our website where you can get information about all of our services. And one of the things that make us different as a property management company, not everybody knows this, but a property management company in the state of New Jersey, has to be a licensed real estate brokerage.
Yes.
Which we are, as I'm a real estate licensed broker. And one of the things people I see get nervous about management is the construction end. People don't know the pricing. People don't know, especially now with the supplies going up with inflation and labor costs going up and contractors busy. And one thing I want Ed to explain is, so Ed and I have known each other for 25 years, just about now.
It's got to be.
One of the things, Ed, can you share a little bit about your construction background and knowledge, and this is why we decided to do this together?
Sure. So I started probably when I was about 15, sweeping floors on construction sites, working with my father. And kind of from there, I really enjoyed the hands-on aspect and also the learning about how a house is built and maintained, and it just always stuck with me, and I always enjoyed it. And then Carl and I met in college, and that's where I learned the business end of it as well, and so I've always stuck in the trade.
So, Ed, how is your marriage going with your wife now that you started the property management company? The reason I say that is because property management, you guys make it worry-free. You're like the PSE&G worry-free program. So if somebody has if a tenant comes and says there's a water main leak at Friday night at midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning, they're not going to call the landlord. If they have property management services like with you guys, they're going to call your number, and your company is going to respond and take care of it worry-free for the landlord and for the tenant.
Well, honestly, it's probably better than ever because she doesn't see me a whole lot. But no, it's good. My wife is she's great. She's very understanding. We make a good team. So.
And we have a good thing is we have a lot of great relationships with contractors who can respond to emergencies. We're able to handle service calls 24/7. So, and we're very tight with our screening process. So we try to make it as smooth as possible and just systemized as possible.
That's very important because I know as an agent how many times we get a call. Once I got a call 4 o'clock in the morning, and they said they think the basement flooded, and they're on vacation. After wake up my husband 4 o'clock in the morning, drive there. Thank God it wasn't just the shadow. But it definitely this is definitely help the owner, give them peace of mind so they can sleep well at night. Well, you are awake.
All right, all good stuff. We got to go to break. We'll be right back after these messages. Okay, welcome back to our show. Today we're joined with Carl Sanfilippo and Ed Griffin of CMS Property Management. We're breaking down all the benefits to real estate owners of property management services. So guys, let's talk about the scope of coverage. Do you guys cover commercial properties and residential, single-family houses, apartments? Just give us an insight on the jobs that you guys are willing to take on.
Yeah, pretty much all of that. There's a couple things we don't get into, like short-term rentals and things like that. But yeah.
Yeah, we cover a lot of so we do commercial, strip malls, residential, multifamilies. Those are really the biggest scope we work. Like Ed said, we're not really in the short-term rental space. That's a whole different space. Your Airbnbs, your VRBOs, your shore houses, which is big down the Jersey Shore. Yeah. We're not really equipped to do that. That's not what our bread and butter is. We're really good with the residential properties, the commercial, the multis, those type of properties.
Yep.
Can you just very simply lead to the steps? If I'm an owner, I own a single-family house in Franklin, Somerset, right? Sure. What do I do? How I start it?
So what happens is they'll reach out to us. We have we explain all the benefits and the services. We have a property management agreement that outlines everything that we're responsible for and how we work. One of our niches is that typically with a property management company, when someone pays rent in the first of the month, the owner's getting the money deposited into their account at the end of the month. What we do is we try to make it the following Friday. So if someone pays in the beginning of the month, the landlord will get their portion of the rent after any repairs and expenses, and then they'll have the money and hopefully in time then to also make a mortgage payment.
Yeah, that's very helpful.
Cash flow.
Yes.
So that's one of our niches that we try to handle. We handle, if it's a client who's not working with an agent, we'll handle the leasing of the property, and we have our own very specific lease that details exactly what the tenants can expect moving in and moving out. Yeah. We have an intake form of the property. We do an initial walkthrough to see what the property is like. So before they rent it, we will at when the tenant moves out, we will send the landlord the pictures and everything. The security deposit, that final decision lies with the owner because we don't own the property.
Absolutely.
We can make any suggestions that we want, but we make the final decision of the owners. But we really take all of that out of the owner's care and concern. We use technology to really leverage with our business. So if you're an owner, at any time you can log in and see exactly the status of your account, what your reserve funds are, everything. If the rent's been paid, if it's been paid out, you don't have to call, you don't have to chime in. You can simply log in and look as well with the tenants. The tenants, we have options. We ask the tenants to pay the rent online, so everything can be dispersed. We try to handle I try to handle as least amount of cash in any of our businesses as possible, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
So we have all online payment options. We onboard. We have it in English. We have it in Spanish. We have, if you call into our phone number, we have different departments that it routes to. So we make it as seamless as possible, all electronic, all online. Property management agreement, it clearly defines what our scope of work is, what we do, but we'll help tenants turn units. And what I mean by that you're in between tenants. We have contractors that will go in, paint, carpet, do whatever needs to get the rent ready. We'll even help with larger rehab jobs if someone wants to renovate. Take care of that as well. And we have a lot of Ed's construction knowledge is really helpful. He's been building houses since he's been 15. I've been doing property management in some aspects since 2006. I was doing it a lot for corporations and banks on foreclosure properties, handling the evictions and everything of that nature. So we have a screening company that we use. We help screen and let the landlord make the best educated decision they can, because I think the screening process is just as important as any other process when you're renting out your units. And we just really leverage technology. So if someone's interested, they reach out to us. We kind of explain everything. We don't do a hard push. Right?
Sure.
We do charge roughly, so people are listening might be thinking what we charge. For just a single unit, it's roughly about 10% of the rent. But if someone has more units and stuff, that we will look over at the overall portfolio and put together a custom proposal.
Okay.
But just as a general rule of thumb, 1-2 properties, we're looking at about a 10% service charge. And I could always tell people is, if it sounds like a lot to you now, it's going to sound very little to you in 6 months when you haven't gotten a phone call. And all you're doing is getting money deposited into your account.
That's right.
Yes. And Carl, with the service charges, that's spread out over the term of the lease, or do you normally charge 10% of the lease contract up front? Because some listeners might be wondering how that's paid out, or is it every time the rent is deposited, you take?
That's a good question. It's every time when the rent's deposited, we take we take our 10% management fee, and then we reconcile the account and we deposit it to you with a full accounting.
Okay.
So everything is completely transparent.
Right. And within that fee, you guys do so many services. Not only you screen the tenants. I mean, ultimately it's a landlord's decision, but you basically do a credit check, you do a background check to the extent you're allowed to by law. The landlord makes a decision, then you do the pre-move-in walkthrough, a very detailed walkthrough. You take a lot of detailed photos. Then when the tenant exits, you do an exit walkthrough, and you again do photos and document any damage, all on behalf of the landlord. So that's a lot of additional. Then anytime there's any calls or any issues the tenant has with maintenance or repairs, you're the point of contact for the landlord.
And technology is amazing because you can see everything that's going on. You can see the pictures of your units all from your cell phone.
Yeah.
That's good. That's remind me, Ken used to, when we go on vacation, he used to use his cell phone, see the dogs, our dogs on the phone.
But
that's good. That's your investment, your baby.
But a lot of property owners can go to Europe for 2 weeks, and otherwise they'd be scared. Oh my God, I have like 5 or 6 properties. What am I going to do if if I can't get in touch? The time difference, and so it enables people to really have passive income from real estate, worry free.
That's right. Absolutely.
I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've talked to who says, I would never want to own a rental property because I don't want calls about toilets being broken and all that. And when I hear that, I'm just like, well, we have just such a perfect solution for you. Like, what if I was to show you a way where you didn't have to deal with all that, but you got the benefits of being a real estate investor long term? Like, would that interest you?
Yeah.
Because it's just, once you get the management off your plate, it just frees you up, and you're not having those phone calls, where it actually will make you want to get more properties.
Yeah.
because when you have it professionally managed with a brokerage company like ours, is that it allows you to scale.
Yes.
Right.
Because when you look at scaling everything, it's about having repeatable systems. And if you're getting so lost in the management, how are you able to scale your portfolio?
Right. And what's advantageous about your company is the two of you make such a perfect partnership because I know, Corey, you have a tremendous amount of real estate experience in managing properties, in negotiating deals. And Ed, from what I learned about you, you know a lot about that too. And you also have the hands-on. So you know if there's what the repair issues entail and what's legitimate, what's not legitimate, what could be due to tenant neglect and what is legitimate, otherwise, a real repair that's not the tenant's fault.
Exactly. And we can look at something and say, hey, maybe this isn't necessary or maybe it is, or make a recommendation as well to kind of protect a property owner who may be a little naive on what is required to upkeep a property from being taken advantage of by a contractor or something of that nature as well. So there is some benefit there.
Yeah, because there's a lot of maintenance that you have to do yearly in your property, and if you're a landlord who's not paying attention, it's very easy, like changing your filters and things of that nature.
Carl, you should be doing that quarterly.
The worst. That's right. We put it in our and I'm sure it's in your leases too. Carl probably forgot. I'm sure because we put it all our leases every 3 months. You do a quarterly filter change.
This is why Ed and I are such good partners, because Ed's got the construction knowledge but there's a lot of maintenance that has to maintain in your property, so it's really important that that's getting done to protect your asset, because doing the little maintenance in the beginning saves you on your real big capital improvement expenses later.
Right.
For sure.
And also helping improve the relationship between the landlord and tenant. I think that's equally important.
It is, and we didn't touch on that, but keeping a tenant happy is also important too, because if you don't have to turn the units over every year, you don't have vacancy, you don't have. It just
and it's more
so
economical for the landlords. Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Because that's the most important. That's the most costly thing for a landlord is if you have a tenant leaving every year, the cost of turning that unit is a big cost.
Yeah, the vacancies and
also the
also
cleaning,
the cleaning and the commission. So obviously, I mean. A lot of our tenants, our landlord always and us always try to make help to make the tenant happy. How many times the tenant help us to rent the place quicker? Or at the end of the time, if the landlord want to sell, that the property is such good shape and the tenant say nothing but a good thing about the landlord, so that helping the, stability. And also when the end their term, they can help us to get better tenants too.
Here's another question for you guys. What about with rentals? Oftentimes they require CCO. Different townships have different rules, but sometimes for rentals, I know like North Brunswick, they have a rental inspection. Most towns require I think in New Jersey, for any rental, you're supposed to have a fire inspection. That's a statewide law. So do you guys get involved in assisting the landlord in that regard as well?
Yeah, so that's in our property management agreement. We do assess a fee for the time to take care of it and get it ready. But that is something we help landlords. So we could truly make this as passive as possible for the landlord.
One-stop shop, right?
You were passive.
Yeah, that's a true passive, yes.
No, it just I love the business because I just love real estate, and Jane, you and I have talked about this 100 times. What's great about this real estate business? There's just so much opportunity. There's so many different facets to the business than just buying and selling houses. With the investing and just seeing people really build wealth through it, and the management part, to me, I just enjoy doing it because it's something I've done since early in my career. But having a landlord say, wow, this is such an easy process, I wish I did this years ago, it's just a very satisfying feeling.
Absolutely. That's with us, right? I mean, real estate definitely is our passion too.
Well, and you guys are, I've seen it firsthand, is you two go over and beyond with service with all your clients.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's what's a differentiator with you and your business than others. And most people don't even realize how over and above that you guys go until they work with you. So, and that service is just what that service and creating those relationships is really what creates just more business.
Well,
thank you.
In fairness, we have a great broker. I don't know if you know him. We have a very great, passionate always leading.
Great coach.
Great coach in the cutting edge. He keeps everybody on their toes and thinks a few steps ahead. So we have to keep up with the times.
I'd love to meet that person one day.
Well, that person just sat next to me.
Yeah, I think and it's the right of you.
Yeah, that's right. Can I introduce Sanfilippo to you? You're surprised I can pronounce your name pretty good. Yes. That's really great. That's really great. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So once again, guys, for property management services, who are they going to call? Like the
CMS property management.
Like I was thinking, I was trying to play on the Ghostbusters.
I
thought about that on the way here, but I'm not a very good actor. I was going to say, who are you going to call? And you got to say, what's the number, guys? Why don't you give us the number? We're almost out of time.
Yeah. So the phone number is at
732-838-3000. Again, that's 732-838-3000.
All right.
That's great.
All right.
Yeah,
Any last thoughts, Carl? But thank you guys so much. Yeah.
No, last thought is, again, thank you for having us. It's been awesome coming back and seeing how far the show has evolved.
Thank you.
Over time. You guys are doing a tremendous job. And if anyone's thinking about real estate investing, you should just definitely reach out to Jane and Ken. They are great with investors and maximizing returns on people's real estate investment. And they can sell you the property. We'll be happy to manage it for you.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Worry-free business.
And one-stop shopping.
Yeah, worry-free.
All right, we're out of time. I once again want to thank Carl Sanfilippo and Ed Griffin of CMS Property Management. Hope everyone enjoys the rest of their day and have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.